Hey, deserving listeners, 90 Day Fiancé. Let's watch. That came out of nowhere. Shortly after filming the tell-all, Yve discovered text messages between Mohamed and another woman. Okay, well, maybe there's an innocent excuse to that. It's his sister or someone at work or something. Let's find out.
Shocking, raw, disappointing, saddening. He chose to spend his time focused on starting other relationships, engaging in activity a married man should not be engaging in.
I met a girl online. She was very nice. I thought we are friends. I'm speaking to this woman.
Okay, so he claims they were friends, and it says Mohamed is saying, I would love to go with you anywhere. Trust me, I don't care anymore. And I'm sorry again. Sorry about something. And then he says, what about a kiss? And then she says, gosh, you are the cutest ever. That's not usually the way you talk to a friend, just a friend, right? And yikes. Wow. That really changes things. Now, maybe his heart was in it the whole time and he was legit and fully into it. And then for whatever reason, he fell out of love with her after getting married. That happens sometimes. Or are we looking at perhaps another Mohamed, the other Mohamed, Mohamed and Danielle, where it just raises many questions as to the intent of the individual prior to even coming to the States. Because, his behavior came across on the surface as cold, uncaring, unloving, disregarding, just completely not caring about Yve. Just be like, look, we gotta get married. I need my green card. Shut up. I don't want your special wedding. I don't care about your feelings. Give me my green card, or I'll find someone else to sponsor me. That's the way people were reading it. And I was like, well, that doesn't seem likely, because why would you do that? It's so cold. It's so cold-hearted. It's so, mildly psychopathic, meaning lack of empathy, lack of caring for another human being. To play with someone's life like that, it is a psychopathic thing to do. What the internet will call narcissistic, but it's not an element. It's not a core element of narcissism anyway. So that was the way it was looking. But I was saying, well, it's not likely that. So I was like, well, what's underneath? I'm always looking for that. But then when we see this, it's like, well, was it the way that it looked? What do you think?
Speaking to this woman for, I think, 2 months. And then things started to get bigger. Yve saw my phone and she saw text messages there.
Oh my God, what a dirtbag. It's immoral. I don't use that word lightly. To commit to someone, to marry them, to tell them you love them, to then behind their back do this sort of thing, to betray another human being repeatedly. Every text you send, every thought you have, without addressing it, going to he could have gone to Yve and said, I'm sorry, I'm flirting with other women. We have to get a divorce. I'm so sorry. Or I'm thinking about flirting with other women. We need to break up. He could have done that. That would not have been immoral. That would not have been a dirtbag move. But to actively cheat and to lie and deceive every day, at the very least by omission, but they're probably like flat out lies that he was committing. And then the woman says, I seriously can't wait to actually meet you. And then he says, I will go to the attorney right after I get the green card. Now, maybe for him, he's like, well, originally I did love Yve, but if I don't get the green card, then I can't be with her because maybe she's from the States. I don't know. Or was it something else? And I'm surprised they even have the text exchanges. How did they get their hands on that? Did Mohamed have to hand those over for some reason? But just what a dirtbag. And I do not say that lightly. On this show, there are things that people will do that I'm like, well, people make mistakes. This sort of stuff it's not a mistake. Unless you're even if you're a psychopath, it's not a mistake. You do this willingly. And when you do it, every day. Now, if it was 3 days or even a week where he's doing this and he's really struggling And then he's like, oh, I got to tell her. What am I doing? What am I doing? He's talking with other people. What should I do? Do I end this relationship online? I don't know. I just feel, I don't know. Okay, there's a span. Maybe that's still wrong. It's still immoral, but it wouldn't be a dirtbag move. But to do it and do it and do it and do it day in, day out, and then your wife has to discover it. Ooh, then were you ever going to tell her? Or was he ever going to tell her? Doesn't sound like it. Sounds like he was going to wait until he gets a green card. And then he was going to get an attorney and divorce Yve. So, yikes. I mean, just yikes. Deplorable. Yeah, just awful.
And that's how Yve knew.
I asked him if I could see his phone. And when that happened, I saw inappropriate things. I saw.
Okay, well, he handed his phone over willingly. She asked to see his phone, but still, it's deplorable. He says, I would just keep you in bed for days. Ugh, gross. Then she says, no, please be for real. Well, he says, just kidding, because maybe he's like, oh, maybe I'm going too far. And then she says, no, I think that's what's happening anyway. Yeah, just gross, just gross. And when you think about his behavior, and maybe for me personally, that I stuck up for him. I mean, I did. I wasn't like on his side, but I was like, well, maybe there's probably a reason there. He's got some issues, da-da-da. But now again, maybe he was for real and he just fell out of love. That happens sometimes. But I don't know. It doesn't look like that, right? Jesus criminy.
Pictures and calls and put the pieces together.
I wanted to make that right. I texted these women. I told her, I am a married man. Please stop texting me anymore.
Oh, so you tried to tell them to stop texting. So you're a victim. You're a victim, Mohamed. Oh, how, I can't believe I'm being this mean, but just gross. I tried to tell them to stop texting me. Please stop texting me. It wasn't my fault. It's the women's fault. They're vixens. They put a spell on me and they wouldn't stop texting me. It's not my fault.
I know I did wrong. All what I can do now is saying sorry to my...
Then he says, you know I'd leave to go with you, meaning I think leave Yve. That's how I feel. She says, me too. I totally would get you right away, but we have to wait just a tiny bit longer for you to get the green card. I hate the waiting too. Now, maybe some people are angry at this other woman. I think some anger is justified, but we don't want to fall into that trap as to blaming her for all this. This is him, 100% him. Unless you believe he was victimized by this woman over text. Give me a break.
My wife, and I promise her that will never happen again. I do love Yve, and she doesn't deserve that.
It's true. She doesn't deserve that. You could have not done it. It's not like something fell out of the heavens and did something to her. You did it. She didn't deserve you to do that to her. Yes. You're trying to fix it. You could have just not done it. How about just not do it? Again, you could have easily just said, oh, I'm falling in love with someone else. I'm going to leave. Oh, and just imagine if you're Yve, that feeling that for a span of time, maybe even the whole time, he was using me the entire time, which is a narrative that people come up with, usually falsely. They'll feel used, conclude they were being used when they weren't actually being used. In this situation, it could absolutely look that, at least for a span of time, he was absolutely using her in the classic sense. He wanted to leave her. He was in love with someone else. He didn't want to be with Yve. He wanted to be with someone else. But he needed to use her for the green card. And just imagine all the times that he interacted with her at home, kissed her, had sex with her, told her he loved her, whatever, I don't know, but something, and just, oh, it's just so upsetting. And then you think, how much therapy is Yve going to need before she can open up again? And I'm just going to take a guess and say that things weren't great for her in the past with relationships, because you don't usually take a gamble like she did with someone like Mohamed without not trusting the normal pathways to building a relationship and getting your needs met. And so this, I don't know, I'm just hypothesizing, but it could set her back quite a ways in that respect.
Trying to fix it.
I'm appalled and I'm shocked. And honestly, I just don't know what the future holds for us.
You don't know what the future holds? I mean, I would imagine the future doesn't, well, I don't know. Maybe they're trying to work on things. And you can recover from infidelity. I've helped couples recover from much worse infidelity than that. I'll tell you that much. So is that where things are headed? Which would be okay, but wow. It's weird. You know, I don't know if I've ever been this angry watching at someone on this show. I'm trying to figure out why. I think it's because I don't think, well, okay. Everyone I've worked with clinically who has cheated did not do it because they were selfish. They did it because they were suffering and they didn't know what else to do. And there was a reason, an understandable reason as to why they were cheating. But I don't know, there's not much to go off of regarding the presentation of the show about Mohamed that gives me some compassion, some viable reason as to why this would happen. Because he's pretty young too, right? And not to talk crap about young people, but it wouldn't be uncommon for a young person just not to really fully understand their responsibilities. You know, like two 15-year-olds who are dating might not really fully comprehend the responsibility that they have for the other person and might cheat or might inadvertently harm the other person without really thinking it through. We could understand that. And so he's 25, I think, and I think has never really been in a relationship, or at least a long-term relationship. So it's possible he's effectively a 15-year-old when it comes to this sort of thing. I don't know. So there's probably a reason there. And if I knew him well, I probably would have a conceptualization that would provoke compassion from me. So I'll just have to have faith that that's true. But I don't know. Maybe I just feel bad for Yve. I feel like she deserves to get her needs met, deserves to have companionship. And she tried so hard, and she was so in love with him and so hopeful that things would work out. I don't know, it just breaks your heart. All right, well, that does it for that episode. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.